Welcome back. Excuse me. Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today's looking like a pretty good day. Markets are rallying, but we have this horrible news about PayPal. They have reinstated their $2,500 fine for misinformation. So let's talk about this because this is actually more encompassing than even the last time they tried to do this, which was not too long ago. It's time to stop using PayPal and start using a decentralized network payment system like Bitcoin. All right, so let's jump right into it. Just weeks ago, PayPal tried to slide in this $2,500 fine for what they consider misinformation. And that could be interpreted a number of ways. But they faced huge backlash, including from the likes of their ex-CEO, Davis Marcus, and even Elon, and all these other influential people came out and said, this is just too far. Okay, it's one thing if you want to ban them off your platform, okay, which PayPal has done many, many times before. I'm very familiar with PayPal. I've used them for decades now. And, I'll go through some of the stuff that they do. Actually, they listed out. I have it up for you guys. But in addition now, they want to fine you. And it's per case. It's not like one time. If they deemed that you have misspoke or sold something that they didn't like or bought something they didn't like, they could fine you $2,500 per instance. And they have changed that, actually made it worse now. Absolutely way worse now. And they just slid it in again. Before, they claimed that, it was a mistake. Some employee just slid it in our user agreement. It's a complete mistake. Don't worry about it. Now that a couple weeks have passed, they think that no one's paying attention. They slid it again, but they now say, well, if you're violating user agreement policy. Okay, so they're trying to say, it's not misinformation. But if you read through it, it's very encompassing and still it's basically the same thing. So if you look at the acceptable use policy, which was updated on the 21st, so actually maybe this was already put back in, I don't know. This doesn't even make any sense. This should be updated, maybe they just didn't change this. They want people to think that, this was already in since the 21st. I don't know, September 21st. But here's the updated one, and I'm looking at this, and they say all these things are restricted activities. Okay, they put a lot of things in here that sounds legit, but they do say, okay, provide false and inaccurate and misleading information. What is misleading? And who gets to determine? PayPal? What if you sell a T-shirt or a product that's supposed to be funny as a joke? Or maybe it's just not. Maybe you have your own message that you want to sell. And they deem it misleading, $2,500 fine, right? Act in a manner defamatory, trade libelous, and threatening and harassing. Again, let's mark it though. It kind of cut off. And then they go through the usual stuff, right? Now, some of the stuff I understand, like sell counterfeit goods. Okay, so that's a bad thing. Allowing your PayPal account to have negative balance, that's a bad thing, right? Facilitate any virus, Trojan horses, yeah, that's a bad thing. But the thing is, what's most concerning is what's considered false, inaccurate, and misleading information. And why did they get to determine it? Well, I guess they think they get to determine it because they are PayPal. But here's the thing. Like most platforms, if you accept their policy, right, you have to abide by their rules. That's fine. PayPal, however, is not a bank. They do not operate like a bank. This is why I've hated using PayPal for the last 2 decades, because if you had to use eBay, you had to use PayPal. But that thank God that's no longer the case. They are two separate companies that you could pay directly with credit card on eBay now. But with PayPal, what they could do is, if they think you're doing something that they don't like, what they do is, first of all, lock your account. They will hold your funds in there. So if you are a business and you need those funds to pay for inventory, right, to cover for services, you are screwed. They could lock your funds up to 180 days. And then, even if they ban you, they'll still lock it for 180 days. They won't give it back to you. I know someone that had this happen to them. So if you're a business, you got hundreds of thousands, let's say you're using that money for payroll, for supply, for inventory, you are absolutely effed, okay? But that's not all. Now they could say, well, not only have we banned you and we're locking up your money, we're going to fine you $2,500 per violation of the acceptable use policy, okay? Per violation, not just one time. So if somehow they do this and then they say, okay, you sold 100 items that we think is spreading misinformation, we're not going to fine you $2,500 times 100, and we're just going to take that out of your balance before we give the money back to you. So think about that. You know, I think this has gone absolutely way too far. Way too far. And I'm talking about big businesses or business in general, but even as a consumer, even if you decide to create something, you sell something, maybe someone gave you something that you decide to sell, right? Something $10, $20, $50, $100. You sell it, people will complain about it, PayPal locks it up and fines you $2,500. Who's going to want to go through that? Who's going to want to second guess themselves on everything that they do, right? So absolutely, the skip, I don't know, it's just bad, really bad. So this is the reason why we all need to stop using PayPal. I will be. I hardly use PayPal anymore. If I'm buying something on eBay, directly with credit card, no PayPal whatsoever. I don't want to deal with this, especially now. And if you look into their acceptable use policy, they also talk about activities requiring approval, okay? Which includes investments, which includes high-value items, which includes cryptocurrencies, okay? Now, why this is important, again, if you are not only selling, but if you're buying. Let's say you buy some crypto and they don't like it. I don't know, the latest meme coin or whatever. They don't like what you're buying. Well, that's considered breaking their acceptable use policy, right? Same thing with investments and high-value items. Most likely, they're not going to be able to determine that. But for crypto, if you're using crypto to buy an NFT, buy an in-game item, buy any crypto, they will be looking at that. And they will be determining whether or not that's something that they like or do not like. Again, so not only are they controlling your money, but they're also controlling how you're spending your money too, or will be. So this is the reason why we need to get off of PayPal. Use something else, preferably Bitcoin or Lightning Network, Strike app, Cash app, something else that is riding on top of Bitcoin's network, right? But the best thing is to just use Bitcoin itself. So it's not controlled by any entity. You're not going to have to worry about a $2,500 fine. You're not going to have to worry about your account being locked up for 180 days. So, yes, get off of PayPal. All right. Now, outside of this horrible news, overall, the market is doing pretty good. That's because GDP actually went up more than expectations. So that's actually pretty good. Dow Jones expected 2.3% growth for Q3, but it went up 2.6%. So GDP is still on the rise. However, though, is that good or bad when it comes to Powell and rate hikes? we'll have to see, because there's many people that think that he may be a little bit dovish next week because of midterm elections and because of external pressures due to softening data. Who knows? But this definitely shows that the economy is still growing. So counterintuitive to him being dovish. So unfortunate is that, but the market is rallying today, except NASDAQ, and that's because Meta is just absolutely getting destroyed. Minus 23% today, and that could slide further. It's just absolutely horrible for Facebook right now. Also, the ECB did raise their rates by 75 basis points, so now they're up to 1.5%, obviously trailing the U.S. The U.S. wants to get to 4.5% by the end of the year. Right now, it's at 3%, so it's about half of what the U.S. is at. But they did say they will continue to raise rates to try to curb inflation, but not nearly as aggressive. And they're announcing some new terms for European banks. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it could be because they are worried about this bank right here, Credit Suisse, which is now sinking again billions from investors because they're basically out of cash. They just got fined, $300 million by the French authorities. They got fined $500 million by the U.S. authorities. On top of that, their stock has been crashing. On top of that, they lost billions in 2021 from bad investments. So they're actually desperate. They're actually really desperate. So not only are they trying to raise money, but they said they're shedding thousands of jobs. They're cutting thousands of jobs. And focus investment banking towards its rich clients. So if you are a poor client of theirs, don't expect to get any service, because they're only going to be catering the rich because they want their money. So Credit Suisse is just looking really bad right now. I don't know if this ECB new terms for European banks could be. Maybe there's new requirements for liquidity or something, right, for reserves. But I think there's a lot of people very worried about Credit Suisse and possibly going under in the near future. All right, what else is there? Well, Twitter. I did mention about Twitter and that ridiculous employee letter to Elon, but shares will be suspended on New York Stock Exchange tomorrow, I believe. So if you do have Twitter stock, I don't even actually know what that means. You just get equivalency of money back. Today may be the last day to be trading Twitter stock. Okay. I actually don't know what happens if you hold stock that gets delisted. I'm assuming they just trade it they just sell it and give you the cash equivalency. All right. But all this talk about getting off of PayPal and getting on Bitcoin, right? Of course, we already have that happening. Many people have been buying Bitcoin, using it, mostly buying, but the exchange balances have been dropping. We're now to the January 2018 level. And it's been dropping pretty fast. And if it keeps going, right, we're just not going to have that much left. 123,000 Bitcoins. My camera's cutting off a little bit. 123,000 Bitcoins bought and removed in October. It's a very smart time to do so while we've been low, right? But that's an enormous amount being taken from 1 month, and the overall supply that's on exchanges is dropping like a rock. So don't let this opportunity pass you by before there's no more. And institutions are definitely still buying. 74% of institutions surveyed by Fidelity. So they're not just surveying mom and pop shops, okay? They're surveying their big clients that they do business with. And 74% of these institutions plan on buying crypto. So think about that. So not only is there not enough Bitcoins to go around for just even the millionaires out in the world, think about when institutions all really jump in and they start buying by the billions, which they started already. But imagine if every single major company out there start buying $100 million to $1 billion to $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. The exchange reserves will drop to basically near zero. And at that point, it'll be nearly impossible for a retail investor to afford one Bitcoin. Everyone will be used to buying sats instead. Decimal points, fractional Bitcoin. They won't be able to afford one Bitcoin. So again, time to be stocking up right now. And lastly, speaking of FTX, seems like Sam Bankman-Fried wants to come out their own stablecoin. Guess why? Because they're competing with Binance. Binance's BUSD has been surging because Binance is making a big push. Everything on Binance is a BUSD pair now. They basically got rid of USD pairs. They want to make everything BUSD, and the volume has been surging, so it's working. So SBF is like, we need to come out with their own, right? I don't know if this is good or bad, but FTX, they have big ambitions, and what I do know is vast majority of liquidations is happening on FTX. That can't be a good thing. Like, it's not even close. Yesterday I checked, it was like 86% of all liquidations on FTX alone. 86%. Imagine, not only is FTX collecting all the fees, but imagine if he was counter trading and he was collecting all that money. The billions that was lost by the shorts goes to the longs. Maybe he's the long, and that's how he's getting so much damn money. I don't know. Something suspicious about that whole thing. Anyways, that's about it. Overall, crypto market cap still above 1 trillion, so that's pretty good. Bitcoin's at 20,600. That's pretty good. Basically same level as yesterday. Bitcoin getting steady. Maybe looking like it wants to consolidate a little bit before the next move upwards. All right, let's do some Q&A. BlackRock is not going bankrupt. I agree with that. I don't think BlackRock's going to go away anytime soon. Yeah, this whole thing with PayPal, it's looking bad. They're going to get such bad press and pushback, and I don't know. I don't know how they think they could get away with this. It's probably the worst time to be doing this. The new CEO is pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin, but then to throw this out, right? Like, it's bad enough that they can ban you and hold your money. It's not even worse. They can fine you for $2,500 per violation, which they control. It's not like you're going to court over this. Their employees just say, hey, you broke our rules, so we're going to fine you $2,500 here, right? So, yeah, this is bad, real bad. Pretty much every service out there does not require PayPal. PayPal only got to their size because of eBay. Because you were forced to use PayPal on eBay. You no longer have to use PayPal on eBay. In fact, eBay prefers if you don't use PayPal. They actually tell you it's better not to because you save on fees. These PayPal fees are ridiculous too. So there's really no reason to be using PayPal. Do you remember when you streamed at Decentraland and you were followed around by 20 dudes? Yeah, it was more than that. It was like 30 dudes. And it was really awkward. Real awkward. Gene said, I heard you talking about Facebook yesterday. I was working. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I would have made a fortune had I put puts on them. You would have. Like, it was so obvious that they were going to do bad yesterday because Google already reported, and Google already said their advertisers were weak, and they lost a bunch of money, and you know, and Google's much bigger than Facebook. So if they struggled, Facebook's going to struggle. Man, they are down. Their market cap is down to 270 billion. They're nowhere close to the other tech giants now. So I remember when Facebook was nearing a trillion, like 500, 600 billion, and I'm like, that's so ridiculous for Facebook. But now it's more reasonable, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term for it. Who else has been stacking Dogecoin? Well, Doge went on a tremendous run yesterday because of Elon. It's still pretty much holding those gains, up 16%, up 30% for last week, right? But it's still far off from its previous highs. So that's the good thing. If it continues to rally, it could go much higher. We'll see. We'll have to see what Elon does. His Doge, I've always complained, has no use case. None whatsoever. At least SHIB is trying to build use cases for itself. It has that game and a new metaverse, and they have their DEX, they have their NFTs. Doge has none of those things. But maybe Elon could actually bring real utility to Doge with Twitter. Stan, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, George, what's the point of PayPal if we have existing platforms like Apple Pay, Cash App? That's what I mentioned. You know, you have plenty of options these days. You have the Strike app, Cash App, of course, Apple Pay, and you have Samsung Pay, Google Pay. I mean, there's a lot of pay, right? But here's the thing. Even though they may not be fining you $2,500, they still have the ability to ban you. They still have the ability to stop your payments. They're still centralized entities, right? So the best is just to use Bitcoin. I know we're not there yet, okay? I know we're not there yet, but another reason why not only should we not trust the banks, but also not trust these financial institutions that still ultimately have all the power. So people will wake up to this eventually. Tyler, you've been shilling the same thing, man. Okay, good. Stop trying to get my attention on it. I don't know anything about it. Ben Simmons is making... People got really pissed off when I started showing Ben Simmons highlights. So I'm going to stop talking about Ben Simmons. Scotty, good job. I'm not a fan of 1inch. 1inch is actually very centralized, Stan. I've used them before because they're a DEX aggregator. Try to buy something and they're like, nope, you're in the US, you're not allowed to buy this. And I freaked out. I'm like, what? How can a DEX aggregator prevent you from buying something? So 1inch is totally centralized. I'm not a fan of 1inch at all. Dickie Withers. Enjoy your new house build videos. Keep them coming. Thank you. I do have another one. It'll be coming tonight. So, the latest. Yeah, it's not even a fake DEX. It's a DEX aggregator, but they also have their own liquidity pool. So, some of the transactions could be coming from them directly, or some of the trades, and they totally are not decentralized. Tyler, it's not that. It's just that I'm irritated by how irritating you are. That's all. Thoughts on the new Solana Saga phone? No. It's gonna be like Siren Labs. These guys do not need to come out with their own phone or a mobile network. It's a waste of their time. I don't even know why they came out that store. It's just stupid. They got bigger issues. They have bigger fish to fry, in terms of network stability and growing out their ecosystem. Not with like some fancy store or some fancy phone that's go not do anything for them. Kava has some good stuff going on. They kind of revamped themselves into like a L1. Before, they were more like a DeFi ecosystem. Now they're like a L1 where they're EVM compatible. They still have their DeFi projects. They're going to introduce their liquid staking. So they're still pushing forward. I'm actually impressed with their progress. And not only are they EVM compatible, they're also Cosmos compatible. So it's kind of like a bridge between the two also. Why is Binance going with a centralized Oracle instead of Chainlink? I don't know. I covered that yesterday. I don't know why Binance is coming out their Oracle. Not only even from the centralized perspective, but oracles have to be very, very, very resilient and tough and not break, because then all the DeFi projects will suffer. So I'm hoping they know what they're doing, because they said like 1,400 or 1,800 dApps in the BSC, on BSC could start using them. But if there's like a major vulnerability or a hack or something with that new Oracle, all those projects will be vulnerable. So hopefully they really know what they're doing. I still only trust Chainlink. I don't know about anything else. Thoughts on data solving a blockchain trilemma? They kind of did already. I don't know what the trilemma is. The dilemma is that how do you scale proof of work without being decentralized, or without being centralized? And they have with their chain web. They're using Satoshi's consensus, sticking with proof of work, but they take multiple chains and chain them together, and it could scale infinitely while still preserving the main security aspect and still being decentralized. So they seem to have the technology down already. It's just a matter of growing out that ecosystem. The new Bronco is the same. 2022, 2023 is still the same. But you still can't get them for a reasonable price. If you can, I would totally get one. In case you guys are interested, go check out my new review on the Bronco Raptor. Awesome. Awesome SUV. Corey's asking, when you take profits, do you prefer USDC or USDT? USDC, definitely. I hold a lot more on USDC because I just don't trust USDT. If I'm spending, I usually spend my USDT first. But BUSD is a good alternative too. All these guys trying to shield Doge Elon Mars. No, it's a ridiculous meme coin with a ridiculous name. It's not going to be the next hidden 1000X. At this point, you're better off buying Doge. Elon likes Doge. He's not supporting anyone. I'm surprised he hasn't talked about Sheep because Sheep has such a loyal following too. So I'm surprised he hasn't incorporated Sheep, but he's sticking true with Doge only. So he's not going to be supporting Doge Elon Mars, which is the most ridiculous name ever created. Again, just really stupid. Dan, you're ready to answer your own question. Yes. Yes, it is. Why do crypto companies like Harmony One keep large amounts of money, $100 million in one basket? Chicago guy, it's because it's not like they did it on purpose. They did it in their bridge. So they were bridging with between Harmony and other chains. You know, in case you don't know how a bridge works, is basically you do need to have like a large wallet. And when you're bridging, let's say, I don't know, Ethereum, for example, Ethereum from Ethereum chain to Harmony, you need to have that swap happen. And you need to have that liquidity in the bridge. Basically, it's one big wallet. So that's what happened. Unfortunately, these bridges are basically essentially their own chain. And most projects don't put as much emphasis or nodes or security on their bridges for some reason. Now we're finding that out because all these bridges are getting hacked left and right. And that's why. It's not like they themselves thought it was a good idea. It's just that's how bridges work. You need to have something that's exchanging tokens between different chains. If Apple, no, Microsoft already reported. You're meaning Apple and Amazon. If Apple and Amazon reports good, maybe tech can start moving again. Tech has been bad for a couple days now because all the earnings has been bad. Google's bad. Microsoft was actually good, but bad forecast, so they went down. Now Meta is bad. Hopefully Amazon, well, I think Apple will be good, but forecast will be bad. So unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna go up or down, but I have an inkling that Amazon's gonna be bad. Amazon, I don't know. I just don't see consumer spending as much, and they have issues with their warehouses. They had to close down some. They closed down all their stores. They're consolidating. So I think Amazon may come in light, but I think Apple will do fine. Ooh, New York Post website was hacked. I guess PayPal's going to be fining New York Post $2,500 per headline now. Yeah, I feel bad for Amazon drivers. Like what I hear, they don't get any bathroom breaks. They're on a strict schedule. They have to pee in like a cup in the truck. What I hear about like how Amazon treat their workers is really really bad. I can't believe they actually get away with it in the U.S., but they do. Dogecoin still considered a meme coin. At least Shiba has utility. I think that's true. That's true. That's why I've always said I like Shiba better. Is at least they're trying to get out of becoming a meme coin. Doge just has Elon, really. You don't even hear Mark Cuban talk about it. Mark Cuban got so much slack over Voyager. Now he doesn't even talk about crypto at all anymore, right? He doesn't talk about Doge. So it's just really Elon now. PC tomorrow? I don't know. It's measuring September. So CPI already gave us a clue about September. Core inflation went up. Overall inflation went down. PCE could come in line with expectations. Hopefully it's a little bit worse than expectations because that'll help the FOMC meeting and the Fed decision. So hopefully it just comes in at expectation or just slightly below. But if we're better, let's say inflation actually went down, right? No, I'm sorry. If we're better, meaning if if we go above expectation, meaning inflation goes up, not down. If inflation goes up, then that's bad. But if inflation comes down a little bit, that would be good. But again, I don't think so because this is measuring last month. It's not measuring this month. It's measuring last month, and we already know how inflation is from the CPI numbers. Dan, that's true. That's true. I can't imagine in the other countries that don't have any labor laws how they operate in those countries. All right, guys. So to conclude, stop using PayPal. Don't risk it. You don't want your account to be banned. You don't want your funds to be locked up for 180 days. And you certainly don't want to be fined $2,500 per violation that they deem, not courts, not anyone else, but their employees. So it's time to get off of PayPal. Use something else. Use something better, preferably Bitcoin. All right. So thanks for tuning in. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.